gives me great pleasure to welcome all of you, a hearty welcome to all of you to one of the world's biggest and most prestigious Nutraceutical C Suite Summit.
Nutrify Today is unconditionally committed to democratizing supply chain, and with this we have done a lot of activities, and I sincerely thank the Principal Scientific Advisor to Government of India when we reached out to them that nutraceutical is the next big thing. He supported us and he enabled and empowered a body called as Nutraceutical Task Force. India actually has potential to be a $100 billion nutraceutical industry hub. And for that, there are a lot of policies to be changed, a lot of systems to be in place. The technology is already here. We have to enable these technology to not only help the companies in India, but industry worldwide for this momentum to gain. With this, I warmly welcome you, and in next 2 days, I look forward to networking, sharing ideas. Thank you so much.
I think this is a very, very important event what Nutrify Today has organized, and it's really had put in a lot of hard work, I can say, what I could see. So I am basically the scientist in CSIR, Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, but I have been given this responsibility to coordinate the Nutraceutical Task Force on behalf of PSA, Principal Scientific Advisor, Government to India. Basic aim of this Nutra Task Force to enabling and empowering the Indian nutraceutical industry to be $100 billion ecosystem. Then industry from India and other countries shall be part of this growth journey and accessing the market from the other countries in the area of nutraceutical ingredients. So as task force, we are working on the multi-channel upgradation of the policies. As I already said, that HSN code, biodiversity also one of the issues, but that we are also looking, but it may take some time. But PLI scheme, we hope to come up maybe in next future, and empowering these promotion bodies of the Commerce Ministry, enabling the then again area where we have to really work on that, like incubation hubs. Government of India under the Department of Science and Technology, they have also initiated incubation hub scheme, and where in R&D institute they can establish the incubation hub and they can do lot of innovation in this area. I invite during the 2 days some challenges where we have to come up, and where you want the help of the government to be part of this, where government can facilitate the export and shaping the policy through that and implementing this through the various respective ministries. Once again, I welcome, and lot of hard work we could see that is put in to organize this summit, and look forward to the good outcome from this summit, so that we can further take up those things and we can fulfill our main agenda to achieve the $100 billion market. Thank you very much.
I'm going to introduce you to a very interesting friend of mine from the world of artificial intelligence, Mr. AI. And
Thanks, Amit, for the introduction. Hi there, I am colleague of Nutrify Genie Click from the world of artificial intelligence. I find myself more appropriate than Amit to take you through this AI app for nutraceuticals.
this is the beginning of the artificial intelligence era for ideation to commercialization of nutraceuticals, which will help companies go to market faster, more options, and think beyond the top 10 hero ingredients and get onto opportunity of more ingredients which possibly could do a great job. If we are able to look beyond the top 10 hero ingredients, this Genie will help you out to make those choices. Thank you.
The Netherlands, of course, from old is famous for its dairy products, cheese, milk, but also innovative horticulture. In the last century, my country has become a renowned scientific hub when it comes to developing the food of tomorrow. Notably, Wageningen University and Research stands out as one of the world's leading research institutes in this field, looking to revolutionize food production. Now, this ecosystem in the center of the Netherlands has become an important supplier of foodstuffs with high nutritious value, including ingredients for example, baby food manufacturers in India. We've been able to build this ecosystem because of the close cooperation between universities, the business world, and the government. This so-called triple helix model is what the Netherlands is famous for, and which is also actively pursued by the government.
Food space is going through doctors indeed, and it's a space that at this moment, if we look at the enteral space going through the mouth, it's about 20 billion worldwide, and about 80% of that space is in the hands of 4 big players. The interesting thing is, why is that? I mean, why is that market kind of dominated by these 4 players? And the other 20%, if you look to what's happening in the different parts of the world, it's mainly low-cost copies in order to make the products more affordable or to make it easier for some healthcare insurance companies. So what we thought when we started actually our company a few years ago is that we need to innovate. That's where you can kind of get into that market and create a space that is sustainable.
I think as well we can really help tell the Indian story in the US. I think most US companies, obviously on the supply side, work with India, but I think most of the finished product companies, they don't really know too much about India. I mean, China has been such a big primary market for them that they really have just focused on China. They're not really thinking that much about India, and we would like to change that. So actually for our next grant program with the Department of Commerce, we would like to begin to work here in India.
I am the CEO of the Industry Transparency Center. Transparency is at the center of our ethos. Very appropriate, probably, that I'm here talking about supply chain and transparency. With the media, with the internet as a channel and an information base, there's a lot of noise. And the importance of being able to differentiate as either an ingredient company or as a brand has never been more important. All countries, consumers are willing to pay for transparency.
Talking about now, Generation O, the generation that is overwhelmed, overworked, and overweight. This is a new descriptor, and this needs to be taken into account when we're looking at the products that we're formulating, we're taking to market, but importantly, it's about how we actually market to them. So we need to understand what's happening in the environment. We see increased pollution, we see increased stressors. So how do we then formulate, what do we take to market, but how do we talk about it in the marketing communications? Look at work stresses. Many of us have got millennials in our businesses, Generation Y as well, and they're completely different to baby boomers, so how do we connect with them? The foods that we eat, we've spoken a lot about nutrition today. How do we talk about those things which are anti-inflammatory, those things which actually help and reduce obesity? But there is an opportunity, of course, for brands that look at obesity, that look at satiety, etc.
So, when you come to Brazil, for sure you're a foreigner, you'll be welcome. We love a foreigner. If you don't speak Portuguese, for sure you'll be welcome. But this country consumes a lot. So, I believe that it's a market that the potential size, when we see that's $2.2 billion for nutraceuticals. It's getting bigger and bigger because we estimate that for coming 5-7 years, we grow much more.
Health is defined in a different way today. Health is not absence of illness. Health is wellness. And hence, when we look at the market for nutraceuticals, we have to look at the market both in the context of illness and wellness, because prevention is better than cure. And it becomes very, very important that the whole market dynamics, which Amal mentioned about it, has to be looked in that particular way. It is a great time for the nutraceuticals industry. The only thing is, All of us should be responsible in the development of the product, responsible in terms of claim, responsible in terms of shaping the market, and be highly focused to develop this market.
The sheer quantum of infrastructure that has been added in the country in the last 7 to 8 years is more than, I'm talking about Delta, is more than what has been added since independence. Yeah. Now, what does that mean? That completely changes the game. In terms of how products can move, access of products. Someone sitting in one corner of the country, how quickly they can connect their product to someone else in the country, etc., etc. So all of this also implies a massive boom that is expected and coming our way, and we actually have started to see that already. It's an absolutely rocking time in India today. I can't imagine a better time to be in India than what is happening today. And we just very strongly believe that the future will completely belittle the achievements of the past. The speed at which this country and the economy is set to grow would surprise all of us.
Being scaled up, what are the various initiatives, so it is just a glimpse of that, and I think that it will give a lot of thought to the industry, entrepreneurs, and
quick introduction. My name is Pranav Jyoti. I'm the Executive Director and the CIO for the Royal Office of His Highness Sheikh Ahmed bin Faisal Al Qasimi, within the private office of one of the rulers of United Arab Emirates. While the private office focus also is very aligned to this construct of making the world a better place, the partnership program which we are trying to build in is really curated and selected for current and future investments that make world a global hub. That as we look towards the future, we look to partner with companies over here and also companies within the vicinity, so that the private office of His Highness Sheikh Ahmed bin Faisal Al Qasimi, it is imperative that we embrace a new way of thinking just about life and impact, and that we consider that vital importance of nutraceuticals in achieving our life goals and health goals.
How do we make supplements less scary? Because it's more of when I'm ill then I need, but then how do we make it more fun is another space. I think benefit-led, science-based, consumer wants to have proof and benefit out of what they're taking. And that links to brand credibility and efficacy as well. It's very critical. It's mushrooming around the world and in India as well. How do we continue to build the brand credibility and efficacy so that consumer can trust? Last but not least, and I talked about it, is evolving regulatory environment. For example, in India, I'm very glad FSI 6-7 years ago brought nutraceutical regulation. It is young regulation if you look at the bigger picture. There are a lot of teething areas, but we are on the right journey. But we still have, for example, supplements in drug regulation. I think those areas we need to tease out, that how do we make regulation less burdensome and more effective for consumer and industry as well.
When we are talking about the health, it's actually no more than just physical health. As you can see here that, the stress management, sleep quality and mental health is actually a predominant health concerns, the trends which we are seeing now. So that's where the lot of focus of nutraceuticals and the role of nutraceuticals comes into it.
When our company, Tablets India, diversified and forayed into the probiotic journey way back in 2000, none of us imagined the depth and the vastness of the probiotic usage. I do remember around that time, the first line of treatment of managing diarrhea in children used to be antibiotics along with ORS. Today, after several years of continuous medical education, we are proud to say that antibiotics is getting replaced by probiotics in managing diarrhea in children, and antibiotics usage is now reserved in cases of acute infectious diarrhea. Like the above, with the advent of scientifically documented probiotics, the medical fraternity has been able to manage several gut-related issues using probiotics.
I think globalization is an important lever one should never miss. I've realized that what works in India in some way or the other, fundamentally also if you do the same way, following those fundamentals, it will work outside of India as well. And in many cases, I've seen personally, it is working. And in several countries, we are able to commercialize it in some of our products. Which I'm repeating here is it has to be an integrated way of looking at it. And nutraceutical companies and pharmaceutical companies and their technical experts and their commercial experts, they need to come together, sit together and develop this. And then that's the best way to kind of take it to the next level.
Government has done far, but I think it is important for commerce, it is important for the actors, the stakeholders to kind of get in and drive this as well. And I think that will enable much of the enabling that will come during the journey.
Our primary goal here is unlocking the power of nature. In an everyday basis, we're used to consuming foods and medicines at different levels, but unlocking what those products actually give to you usually doesn't happen in a natural way in terms of what we consume them. So we believe at Noritas, some of the products that we've developed, which are peptide-derived products, bring to us a totally different way of looking at how we do business and how we unlock the power of nature. From this, we've developed a system of artificial intelligence that allows us to actually do discovery in a totally different way. We are the first company out there that has used artificial intelligence to actually do discovery and unlock these peptides and actually bring them to market where people are consuming them today and a number of products that are currently on the marketplace.
This is where we bring our innovation. That's our patented product, nanocurcumin, which we have developed using natural curcumin as the starting material. This was primarily done to overcome the limitation of natural curcumin, which is about 1 to 20 micron in size and limits its therapeutic value. We decided to take a new approach of increasing the efficacy of curcumin by making it smaller, making it readily absorbable in the body by increasing its surface area. So there is a patent to it which covers the process, product and the application of it in medicaments. And that's where we differ from most of the branded curcumins in the market.
We now have a very important and a pleasant ceremony to go through. Quite obviously, we've put this, Nutrify Today has put this entire program together thanks to some of the sponsors that you see out there and Nutrify Today.
Amit and the team from Nutrify Today and the team from the C Suite Summit, thank you so much for having us here to introduce WIN, Women in Nutraceuticals, to the India region.
WIN is not just for women. WIN is an organization which is for men and women both, because it's easy to say this, but without men in nutraceutical, there won't be a point of discussing women in nutraceutical.
To thank the organizers for giving this opportunity today and come and talk on solutions for women's health. Briefly introduce IFF. We have 4 divisions in the company, and I think you're very familiar with the first division, the scent. So these are all our flavors in this division. But we also have the Nourish division, which is about food ingredients. We have the Pharma Solutions division, which is mostly about excipients and those sort of things. And
today we are more towards preventive zone, and because of the changing lifestyle, the sedentary lifestyle, less physical activity, the lifestyle diseases have been increasing. Why the pharma industry is coming into the nutraceutical zone, because they want to give a patient-centric solution to the people. When I say patient-centric, so suppose if their MR is going into a doctor's chamber for a metformin, which is a diabetic drug, they want to go ahead, enter into nutraceuticals and package those diabetic drugs with the other nutraceuticals which could help them in a complete patient-centric outcome.
We had a huge cry of selective sex selection, female child, and then aborting that. That is how the slogan Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao came. And I'm very pleased to announce you this slogan came actually in 2008, given by me for the organization called FOXY, our national association.
I would like to say that the postbiotics popularity is increasing in the latest 5 years.
If you have looked at today's newspaper, there is again an announcement that number of diabetic patients in India have increased to 100 million. And I think the root is at this, and we are going to see that it may develop intrauterine.
Since COVID 2020, we have seen a paradigm shift in the thinking of the consumers. Their thought processes have completely changed, and consumers means all of us also sitting here are consumers. Everyone has changed their thought process since then. There is much more awareness about immunity, about eating more of balanced diets and less refined diets. There is a more accelerated adoption curve towards health, nutrition, nutraceuticals, etc. And obviously, there is a lot of digitalization as well. A rise in e-commerce platforms especially during COVID times, has enabled us to get our home deliveries of our nutrition products at the click of a button, sitting at home in a much safer place.
I think you guys have done a phenomenal job. I remember Amit and the team reaching out to us almost 2 years ago. We missed out on the first Nutrify Today Summit, but looking at the overwhelming response as well as the great feedback, we are so glad that we could take part in the second one. And really, I'm thankful for inviting us and giving us an opportunity to talk about our company.
My utmost pleasure to be here, and my sincere thanks to Amit, as well as Qasim, as well as the entire team of Nutrify Today for inviting me. And it was not easy to get permission from because I work for the government. It was not easy for me to get permission. They asked me so many details about Nutrify Today. I just sent them the link and they were satisfied. And again, when Amit told me I need to talk about glycemic index and brain health or mental health, I was a little bit not happy. The reason is GI not just modulates mental health, but it modulates systemic health. It takes care of every part of your body.
So thanks, Amit, for giving me this opportunity to speak before such a knowledgeable and diverse audience. I'm really impressed by the presentation we have been listening since yesterday, and I'm privileged to be the part of this wonderful, knowledgeable gathering. I would really like to, appreciate the remarkable healthcare system in the GCC countries. Every government or a private hospital in the GCC have the latest technology and the cutting-edge biomedical equipments, and all the government hospitals and the private are taking every possible initiatives to improve the healthcare and get the best out of the world.
I'm from a company, a Korean company. The name is Metasen Therapeutics. Metasen means metabolism centric. So we are focusing on the nutraceuticals in Indian term, but in Korean term, or our company calls the nutraceuticals medical food. It's the same meaning. We are developing new products and new technologies. And when we can have the more products, we'd like to introduce the new technology and products into India at first.
Thanks for the invitation to be here at Nutrify Today C Summit, especially based on the recommendations by a new company, Dutch Medical Food. What I'd like to do is bring you to the situation of patients and why nutrition, oral nutritional supplements and maybe nutraceuticals are important for those patients who have been treated in ICU.
Nutraceuticals are still packaged in a very old-fashioned way, even though nutraceuticals have been with us for many years. For me, the home of nutraceutical development and superb marketing is the USA. And that's followed by Germany, to some extent France, the UK, and so on.
Nutraceutical compared to pharmaceuticals, and is it complementary or are they actually against one another? They're very different. I think it's different. My background is pharmaceutical. I have a PhD in pharmaceutical sciences, but I've been in the dietary supplement space for over 20 years, and I can tell you they're very different. In pharmaceutical, you're dealing with a single compound that you're trying to target, treating a certain disease. In nutraceutical, I'm trying to provide you with the nutrients to allow you live an optimal life. And so in the US, there is something called the NHANES. So the NHANES gathers data from a large cross-sectional population of the US. And what they look at in NHANES is to understand what are the nutrients that the general population may have insufficient intakes of. Because we understand that insufficient intakes will lead down the path of non-optimal health.
In terms of designing our studies, one of the major challenge which I see is when we design the outcomes. When we plan of outcomes in a Nutra study, there may not be very well-defined outcomes. Secondly, the causality of nutrition intake and the clinical outcome or the parameter which we want to measure, that would be very really difficult to establish the causality between them.
often there is this big debate, nutritionist or a doctor, or is it versus, is it a team? So the doctors actually spend 4 hours studying nutrition in medical science. The nutritionist studies 7 years. Okay, so in that way the nutritionist is a better candidate. However, there is a multidisciplinary team approach which is required. Also, when you're looking at personalization, the nutritionist spends almost around 40 to 50 minutes. So understanding what is the food habit, cultural habit, activity pattern, and then integrating it into the diet. Hence, the nutritionist actually helps in bridging this gap between the two ends.
We have high quality standards while being cost effective, and we're really strict with non-GMO status, so we're working towards being 100% non-GMO with all of our ingredients. We're considered relatively conservative with the claims and label text that we write, and actually the FDA has used our labels as examples for other companies to model after.
All the doctors need to take continuous medical education, CMEs, and currently if you look at any CME program, it does not include nutrition as a CME topic.
Yes.
So we should have nutrition as a CME topic to get CME credits to the doctor.
Yes.
And that can be done, which will immediately at least bring some interest among doctors to engage themselves in the nutrition education. I think that part is critical.
How can we get more new age young adults interested in buying supplements here in India? Start thinking of supplements as a lifestyle product that's for everyone, especially young people. For everyone even for healthy people who might enjoy taking fun supplemental products because it's the cool thing to do.
Dermacentric is, as name, we focused on skin. Just skin, only for skin. So we make the product for skin with a safe ingredient and effective ingredient. We study for 20 years for the product. Finally, we make the brand 3 years ago.
So this is the product that we are trying to show today. And
what's this?
This is an ampoule.
It's an ampule? An ampule? Yeah.
So this is really good for the skin elasticity, antioxidants. PDRN is what's called PDRN is coming from the salmon. The ingredient coming from the salmon is really known to be very good for skin elasticity and good for your aging.
Actually, we have 5 key technologies.
Okay.
So each are the master product of each technology. So we have various products from each technology, and you can combine any of 2 or 3 products.
Okay.
Where by the recommendation of a pharmacist. This is for the CNS disease. This is for Alzheimer's and Parkinson's.
Okay.
So this can inhibit or prevent the progression of the Alzheimer's. Okay. Usually, diabetic patients can go to the Alzheimer's. It's the neurodegenerative diseases came from diabetes.
Excellent.
So this is our final goal. And it can help the human races from the Alzheimer's or the CNS.
저희는 한국의 유통 사업을 하고 있고요. 그 한국에 있는 좋은 제품들을 많이 알고 있기 때문에 인도에 소개를 하려고 이 자리에 왔습니다. 한국에서는 영양제라고 하는데요. 그 식품처럼 비타민이나 뭐 미네랄을 챙겨 먹는 것처럼 사람들한테 좋은 성분이 들어있는 단백질이나 블랙마카 이런 제품들을 좀 소개하러 갖고 왔습니다.
제가 10년 동안 한국에서 방송인이었거든요. 그래서 이제 그런 정말 연예인들을 위해서 아름다움과 건강을 책임지는 이런 뷰티 비즈니스를 하고 싶어서 시작된 브랜드예요. 이제 저희 이 블레싱미 같은 경우에는 이제 이 한 포에 석류가 10개, 10과가 들어가 있고, 그리고 이제 베리 종류 7가지가 들어가 있고,
자세하게 얘기하면
오케이. 그러니까 정말 여성들을 위해서 만든 제품이에요. 그래서 이제 뭐 생리통이라든가 생리전 주문이라든가 피로회복, 항산화 제품.
Kapoor has fallen in love with this event, and he says, I will be married for many years to Dr. Srivastava and this event. I feel the same way as him. He's been a great success, incredible networking.
In Nutrify today, we've already seen that partnership turn into additional business.
And looking at the platform's growth and the curated audience it has been able to develop, I'm very, very glad to see the opportunities coming for a startup like us, which will help us to grow from the very fancy, from a very small stage of no revenue to probably a medium-sized enterprise sooner than later.
It has been an ecstatic experience, and I must compliment Dr. Amit and the team at Nutrify for putting up this particular show. It is an extremely well-planned show, and the intent of the show, what was there, the content of the show, I think they have fully achieved the objective. For us, specifically speaking, it has been 2 wonderful productive days, and I wish all the very best to the team at Nutrify.
Mind-blowing. I have attended many conferences, science conferences, medical conferences, which is done by big professionals and media management companies and all. Looking into it, this is a very, very extraordinary.
C Suite has been brought all fragmentations into our platform where apart from the networking, I think right knowledge has been sprayed.
A sincere thanks to every one of you. It's been a great journey working with you. We could pull it off purely because of your support. We succeeded last time because of your support. We have succeeded even now purely because of your support. And as we grow, we'll take all of you together because together we'll make a great industry in this world. Thank you once again. Namaskar.